Well, as I was thinking today about something that I could share with all of you for your how-to, I was reminded of the other day when I had Heather in our Sandy store. It was on Friday, I believe I was down there. And uh, we were talking about how good, or how well, I should say, Heather does at selecting fabrics and choosing fabrics. And a lot of you said, oh, I wish I had that talent of choosing fabrics. And I said, one of these days, what we'll do is we'll go on a little tour of the store, and I'll have Heather show you her process of how she selects fabrics. So as I was thinking about that today, I thought, you know what? I also have a process I go through, and I'm not going to go through the store to do it. I'm going to go through my scrap bin. How's that? And no, I have not rehearsed this. I've told you before, there's no teleprompter here, right, folks? So we're going to see what's in Kris's scrap bin, and it's scary. Now, I only pulled out one, and they're just a bunch of scraps. But I'm going to do my best to take you through a process with me of how I choose for fabrics to come together. All right? You ready for that? And I'm going to talk to you about a few principles that always I take into account when it comes to choosing fabrics for a quilt. And I hope the information that I share with you today you will find helpful in your quilting journey. Okay, so I'm going to come right over here. Let's see. I get a good spot to put this on. And you can see, this is my basket of scraps, and no, it is not organized whatsoever. At all. Okay, so first things first. Okay, let me see if I can get in here. We'll just have a little heart-to-heart conversation. Are you ready for this? Heart-to-heart, folks. First of all, this is your quilt, and you can choose however you want to do it. And if it makes you happy, then you go with it. Okay? That's the number one thing. Choosing fabrics and getting excited for that next project is all about having fun and enjoying the process. And if it gets you frustrated and discouraged and you feel like you're flubbing up, then you need to take a deep breath and say, it's okay. If I enjoy this, if I enjoy what these fabrics look like together, then there's no right or wrong way. Okay, so that's the first things first. No right or wrong way. There's no absolute have to have, must haves, all of that. So I just want to make sure that it's very, very clear. Oh, sorry, there's a lot of light coming in there. All right, I'll do my best here. Oh, there, no, maybe, okay. Oh, haha. If I go right there, we should be good. Okay, so the next thing, Debbie says heart to heart on 3 at 3. I know, it's so true. Okay, so the next thing I want you to think about is who you need. Usually we think of quilts, we don't have to, but we usually think of quilts as in themes, okay? So if when I talk about a theme, you're going to ask yourselves questions like, who is this quilt for? Or what is the special occasion? Where am I going to put it in my home? Is this a holiday quilt? Is this a gift for my grandson? You're going to think about what is the intention of the quilt that you're making, okay? Maybe by all means, it might just be because you want to create something, you've fallen in love with fabric, a certain fabric, and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to make, but I'm going to make something, okay? And so you kind of choose a theme. And once you know that theme, you're going to go with what I like to call is a focus fabric. That's where I always start off with. Me personally, I always start with that one focus fabric, the fabric that I absolutely love, the fabric I can't live without. It's to die for. It has got to go home with me. Do you guys all know that focus fabric I'm talking about? If you find that focus fabric, then everything else should be pretty golden. It's finding that fabric focus that just draws you in. It's just calling your name. It's like, come to mama, okay? I've got to take you home. So I'm going through this scrap stash. Look at this. See, this is a mess. Such a mess. Okay. And I'm going to find something. I've done a lot of Halloween stuff lately, so maybe that's why I tend to have, ooh, I love this. Maybe I'll do a little bit of Halloween, shall we? But I'm not finding a big, okay, well, this one's kind of a bigger print. I'll start with this because it's a bigger print. This maybe, and you guys know I don't even love cats, but for some reason Scaredy Cats just called my name because I loved it for Halloween and I thought it was really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this would be my focal fabric. Okay, so obviously there's some black and oranges there. All right, so that should be fairly easy to find stuff for, right? Blacks and oranges. Now this is a bigger print, right? You got to think about that when you're doing this. You've got to think about bigger prints, smaller prints, and having a variety of prints. So that would be, you know, your focus fabric. Sometimes I'm usually looking at how big the print is. But look, this is a small fabric. This is Cafe. And this could still be my focus fabric. And wouldn't that be impressive? If I use something like this, I could have a lot of fun with that because there's a lot of different colors I can pull from, isn't there? A ton. So that could definitely be a focus fabric, but I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to go ahead and keep with my first inkling of using the Scaredy Cat as that. Now, this is another thing I want to tell you. You do not have to stay in one line of fabric. I am giving you permission right here, right now. Try to situate this a little bit. To, we like to call it to go line dancing. Go line dancing. Have fun with it. Why do we get so stuck in those 42 SKUs that are, for example, in a Moda line, right? And we go, oh, but I can't go outside the line, right? No. There are so many beautiful fabrics that will work and play together that don't feel like you're stuck within a line. If you like something else, pull from something else. It is a-okay. All right? So I've got this and I'm going to pull in some black, and I showed you this check before. Love, love, love check. Okay, these are two different lines of fabric. That's totally okay. I like this one because it has a very small scale. So this is the other thing. You want to think about size and scale. Look at the different sizes. If you had everything in one quilt be large print, it's a little hard on the eyes, okay? It's a little, it's like, whoa, that's a little too much. You need to give you need to give some variety, some depth to the quilt. And you do that by changing the scale and size of things, okay? So add small prints, add bigger prints. So let's see. So I've got a large scale here. I've got a small scale here. I'm gonna grab, this one is from a totally different fabric line. This is from, well, this is Scaredy Cat. This is a basic from Riley Blake. This one is from Meg Hockey, okay? And she did this. And would you consider that maybe a medium scale? I'd probably say a medium scale. All right, and so this looks pretty good together, don't you think? I love all these together. Now, what if I want even smaller than that? Okay, I might go with, this is a totally different line as well. Uh-oh, some might say, oh, wait a minute, Kris, this is a little bit lighter than this. That's okay. It's okay to have different strengths of color, okay, within one color scheme. And that could be a whole nother class on its own, is to talk about colors and shades and secondary colors and tertiary colors and all those things. And I'm not an artist, but I know a few things about color. But what I'm going to rely on the most is what I like. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to trust your gut. And if you think something works, then go with it. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, let's see. Okay, here's another print. That's interesting. This one, I don't know if actually, I would put it in if it wasn't necessarily right up close to it. It is a little bit busier. The coloring is a little off. I would say it's even a kind of a different tone, and that's kind of bugging me a little bit. This one is a little more peachy, where this is a little more yellow orange. Okay, but they still certainly could be within the same quilt, especially if you were trying to go for a real scrappy look. There wouldn't be a problem with this. Now let me show you something else that's you could use kind of as a little cheat sheet here. When you go to a fabric store, you know what this is? This is the Selvage, right? We're all familiar with what the Selvage is. It's at the edge of the fabric. Interestingly enough, what a lot of manufacturers will do now is they create these cute selvages where they have, do you know what this means? This is all the different fabric, all the different colors in this same piece. Aha! Think about that. If these are all the same fabrics that are in this same piece, then that's pretty cool, because guess what? I might not pick up on the brown very well when I see it in the dots, but I see it right here in that pumpkin. So if I were to go around the store and I love this piece, and I go, okay, well, I want a little bit of this color and this color and this color and this color, then guess what? I've just created a roadmap for me of what I need to go search for. The colors are right there. Okay. So scale and size is very important. Ooh, let's throw this in too. That's cute. This is April Rosenthal's from Moda. Now look, okay, totally different lines, guys. Look at this, but it's coming together. It's coming together. Look how cute this is going to be. And then my big focal print. Ta-da! Isn't that going to be a fun quilt? So, how about let's talk about even adding some different patterns. If you have the quilt that's all polka dots, that's not going to be as interesting. But let's throw in, we've got some checks. We've got some little squares. We've got some bigger gingham. But how about a stripe? Okay, so think about how you can do that as well, is throwing in different pattern combinations. Now, here's another thing that I'm a firm believer in. I feel that your quilt, this is just the book of Kris, okay? You do you, but I feel like every quilt should have some place to rest your eye, and in order to do that, it's like, I call them restful solids. Okay, that's what I call it. Restful solids. Solids allow for the eye to rest. If everything was it's like vision overload. It's just too much, right? So we could do, trying to see if I have a solid in here, in this basket of goodness. I'm not seeing a solid. Okay, let's just pretend for a moment. This is, well, actually, this is going to be a really good example. Let's see. Okay, take a look at this. That is not a solid, is it? There's some print on there. However, guess what? When you look at it from far away, it serves like a solid, because this is more of a tone on tone, what we'd call tone on tone. So by including solids in there or tone on tones, which gives the look of a solid, okay, from far away, adds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of texture, but it still gives the look of a solid, then this would be a great way to go. Now take a look at this print. This would also, in my mind, be considered a solid. Yes, there's a little tiny print on there. There's some little tiny X's, but it is so cute because it adds a little bit of texture to it. But look at it from back from where you're at and where I'm at. It gives the illusion of a solid. So therefore, it gives your eye a chance to rest and to breathe and to appreciate all the other beautiful fabrics in there. So here we go. Here's more of a solid, even though it's not a solid. Okay, we have a medium print. We have a smaller print. We have another one that looks like a solid, but it's not quite a solid. We're adding in a different print now, a totally different shape, which helps give the quilt some interest. I love my tiny checks. You can't go wrong. Tiny checks are timeless, I will tell you that. We have the little squares, a little bit different shade of orange, but that's okay. And then I have my final large print, which is my focal fabric. Does that help? I hope that helps, because I think choosing fabrics is probably, for me, it's the most fun part of the whole process. I know to some that may be completely opposite, but for me it's really fun. Now the other thing is to not be afraid to take risks. Okay, so what do I mean when I say take risks? It means that, one, don't play it safe by staying within a line. Okay, we know that's going to be playing it safe, right? We know that everything in the line is going to go together fine, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want you to be afraid of just taking the risk and pulling something from your stash that you already have. So let me think real quick of what I might add to this. Oh boy. Let's see. Hey, how about a little yellow? Okay, but Kris, there's no yellow in here. That's okay. Look how cute that looks. To me, it gives me a feeling of a jack-o'-lantern, and it goes with the theme of my quilt, which is Halloween. So there's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of yellow. Would I put red? No, I would not put red. I'd put yellow. I might put a little bit of purple in it. Okay. There's lots of things you can find out there on color wheels and all of that. And that's, again, something that you could consider as looking and studying the color wheel. But for me, I just look at what I like, you know, and if it reads well to my eyes, and if I stand back 10 feet and I look at it, and sometimes what I'll do if I'm at the fabric store and I'm trying to figure out, is that going to go together? What I'll do is I'll stack my fabrics up horizontally, okay, so that you see just a little bit of it. It's not overwhelming to see it all. Sometimes we like to lay them all out in front of us and try to choose that way. There's nothing wrong with it, but I prefer stacking them up horizontal, looking at that little piece, stepping back and taking another look at it. Okay, so that's an idea as well. Another thought I have about when it comes to colors, I want you to consider I want you to consider anything that's in nature. A lot of colors that we see are associated as warm colors or cool colors, and it's usually, do you know why the reason why we call it warm and cool? Maybe there's a more technical term for this, but the reason why we do that is because that is what we associate those colors with. So for example, reds, oranges, yellows, those would be all considered warm fabrics, correct? Warm colors, I should say, because maybe we associate it with the sun, or we associate it with fire. Okay, those are warm. While the colors of blues and greens and purples, we're going to associate more as cool colors. And it's because the things we associate those colors with are also cool. So water or greenery, foliage, the sky, would be cool. So that would be, warm and cool colors. So some people will say, well, then I've got to keep to all warm colors in a quilt. Maybe, but you don't have to. You could certainly do, sorry guys, you could do, uh-oh, something weird is happening on my computer. There, I think we're good. Okay, you could certainly do, you want to, let me try to do this way. Sorry, all that sun coming in. Let me go this way. Okay. You would, if you want to add a little zip to your project, here's your secret. Here's the secret sauce to adding a little zip. And that is taking a warm color quilt and throwing in a little bit of cool. Okay? So that's another idea as well. There's nothing wrong with it. Just a little bit, just a little touch of something totally opposite, and it could be pretty cool. You don't have to, but that's another idea. Yeah, Deanna says take a picture of your phone. Take a picture, with your phone and check the colors. You definitely could do it. I've seen where people will take the colors and then they'll make a black and white picture, copy of it on a copy machine, so that they can see the values of the colors. When we talk about value, we're talking about a grayscale. Again, that's a whole nother lesson. But if you really want, if there's something that really you want to stand out with about those colors and that quilt, then make sure that you have a variance of that black and white scale. And if you don't know what it is and you don't understand that color value stuff, put it on a black and white copy machine and try it out that way. Okay? So those are some thoughts. Now, the final thought I have about all of this is this. I'm going to take a piece of cardstock to show you this example. And yeah, Donna says you can edit your picture on your iPhone to grayscale. That's true. So heck, I used to have to take things to a copy machine. We probably really don't have to do that anymore, do we? So many things we can just do on our iPhones. Okay. Another thing you want to do when it comes to selecting fabric is you're trying to figure out how it might look. You see a beautiful print, right? And you think, wonder how that's going to look in my quilt, because that print is going to be all cut up, right? And it's going to be smaller than I see it here. And I'm not sure how it's going to look as a small piece. Now, you notice I didn't take the time to do a measure this. So this is kind of a, hello, here's my magic mirror. There you go. So I didn't take time to actually do a exactly a square. But let's say you were doing 3-inch squares. Draw a 3-inch square on a piece of cardstock. Have a little bit more on the outside edge. And then what you can do, I'm going to pull this fabric out. Those of you who are with me on Make It Mondays, you'll recall my issue with this fabric. I called them popsicles, and you guys are like, no, it's not popsicles, it's buoys. Buoys, I should say. Okay. And I can create this with a window. I create this little window. So now I'm not looking at the whole fabric in its entirety. I'm just looking at the square, okay, by itself. And I have enough of this cardstock over to the sides of it that it keeps my eye focused right here instead of elsewhere. Okay, you could do the same thing. I'm going to cut another one. Someone said they liked my scissors. Aren't those cute? Those are kind of fun. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to draw a half square triangle on here real quick. What would a half square triangle look like? Now, my friends, I do not do this on every single quilt. I only do this when absolutely necessary, and I don't trust myself to really know what that piece is going to look like. But this would be, maybe this is a tool that you could use to see how you like something. Okay, so I cut myself a half square triangle. Let me pull another piece of fabric. Oh, where did that cat fabric go? Because maybe I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to put that cat fabric as a half square triangle. Well, maybe that might not be so good because look, let's see. Well, look, when I look at it, I'm going to get his tail end. That doesn't look so hot. And I might get part of his face in there. There we go. Right? Do you see what I'm saying here? Is that by doing something like this, it's going to give you a better visual of where you want to be. And then I go, no, that's not the right print for my half square triangles. Instead, I'm going to go with this for my half square triangles. I really like that, right? Then you can take it another step further. And let me draw another triangle on here. Because maybe we're trying to figure out if we like those two together, right? So I'm just going to hurry and cut this out. Again, if I were really doing this with a particular project, I would do it to the measurements that I had. But this is just so you get an idea, right? And so I might put this one here, and I'm trying to think whether I like that next to, oh, okay, here's an example. Next to that one. Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind it. There's definitely a contrast, but to me it's almost a little too busy. Okay, so I might say, it's a little too busy. I think I'm going to go with something different. And I might go with something like this. Okay, whoops. There we go. Obviously, this is a little bit easier when it's done on the table. And there you go. All right. And then I go, oh, yes, I like that. I like that combination together. And I go from there. Okay. So that's just a few thoughts I have on that.